Alright, so how is everybody? I just made a Christmas brownie because I want it to be Christmas. I did a Ghirardelli brownie mix with dried cranberries and crushed up candy canes, and I cut up marshmallows. It's pretty good, pretty sweet. Okay, where were we? Moreover, for all their ingenuity and promise, the material technologies of the Neolithic were still quite primitive in comparison to what we have today. Although there is evidence of a script, there seems to have been no written literature. And even though much was known about matters ranging from agriculture to astronomy, there was probably no science as we know it today. Also, random thought I had, there's sun poisoning. My husband got sun poisoning yesterday, but there's no such thing as moon poisoning. You can't get too much moonlight. I mean, the moon can make you a lunatic, I guess. I was thinking of the importance of a good masculine, of a good mind. I was thinking how when I go to these high vibe spaces, like I went to a mini retreat yesterday, and afterwards I was super loopy and open. And like, I don't really like being like that in a low vibe, because then I went to like the gas station and I had to like bring it back together to like focus and like, I don't know. But that's a really good example of like, everything is just your perception, because like whenever I feel weird, everyone else feels weird, and they're like, huh, what? Hold on. Okay. So like this America, you know, submission is masculine, but anyways, they are, if you allow the programming to just be in submission and just be following all these influencers and just hive minding, who is the mind? Where are they leading you? As opposed to, I also like, and even within that, like being in your masculine and like these things you're wanting are, you're being programmed to want, like money. And but also I don't like being like, when I'm in my feminine, going with the flow of these hippies, it's like they are going towards like, I don't know, polyamory, whatever. And so I don't, and you know, we all are human with faults and ego, but like I know I have a lot of blocks with my heart, but I have a lot of like, when like I'll do all this heart opening stuff and it's like I love everybody, but like I know that like I don't like people, and like I don't want to like people, and I don't want to understand them. Like it's so weird. Like there's most people can be okay most of the time, but I don't know, acceptance is a slippery slope. And also I get into patterns of just rejecting everyone and everything. I don't know, but so yeah, what is the hive mind of the feminine? Because like we could all, like Lemuria, we could all just be like, ah, whatever, Hare Krishna, kumbaya, and fall off a cliff. That literally happened. I'm not to be like literally these people fell off a cliff in Maui, this couple, or the husband did. Anyways, so back to the book. A useful perspective on the positives and negatives is provided by what we may from the evidence infer of this earlier age's particular quality of mind. Neolithic art is sometimes characterized as irrational because it abounds in the kind of imagery we associate with fairy tales, horror films, and even science fiction fantasy. But if we define rational by any humane standards, as meaning the use of our minds to just transcend some of nature's destructiveness and brutality, and define irrational as destructive thinking and behavior. It would be more accurate to say that Neolithic art reflects not so much an irrational as a pre-rational worldview, as contrasted to the more empirical thinking so highly valued in our secular age. It was the product of a mind characterized by fantasizing, intuitive, and mystical consciousness. Okay, so at this retreat I was at, you know, it's someone's home temple space, and I'm sure they're very busy and they have better things to do than like cleaning 24/7. And also it was like Leo new moon vibes, and they had like a cat there, and it didn't smell like cat, but I really felt like I was smelling like jaguar. I don't know, like we were on these aerial silks, and you know, like it's like, it was a well-loved temple. It wasn't like the mainstream influencer brand new apartment with brand new everything from IKEA and Amazon. You know, it was these well-loved pieces. It wasn't like dusty, but just it had like energy. You know, it had like history. Like I felt like I felt like I was like a old, like werewolves. They're like, oh, you know, this person was here this many moons ago. Like yeah. So, but then I was thinking, is that a bad thing? Because it feels very like real, like natural. It feels natural. There's, like we aim for like not natural, like no dust, no spiders, no smells, no hairs, no dust, no, like controlling everything, and so disconnected from nature. So, yeah, I don't know. Okay. In fact, in the religious art of the Neolithic, we can see how, lacking our kind of scientific knowledge, our forebears tried to explain and influence the universe in ways that in our own time seem primitive and superstitious. And although the most massive evidence of human sacrifice is found in later dominator societies, there are few indications the practice of ritual sacrifice may date back to this earlier time. Useful perspective on the positives and negatives is provided by what we may from the evidence infer of this earlier age's particular quality of mind. Side note, I should just Google this I'm sure someone on YouTube, but it's like, have people questioned like what happens to your how to you as you become rich? Like everyone's calling Taylor Swift like the billionaire. Like part of me likes her music, and part of me is like, yeah, she's a white skinny billionaire. Like, what does she know about anything? And just all, a lot of music comes across to me as very like empty and like, I don't know. Like sometimes it's fun to be cunty and whatever. I love Chaperone. That she's new, so it's feeling very real. Like struggle feels real and relatable, but the mind, like, yeah, like at a certain point, like I've been watching the anime Shiki, and they're like vampires, and they're explaining like, oh, when you first become a Shiki, like you think it's so bad to like kill people and drink their blood, but you're just thinking of people as your food. So I don't know. As contrasted to the more, okay. Clearly, so talk about Stonehenge, with the movement of the sun and moon, their shaping, transport, placement required an advanced understand. Okay, math? Sacred geometry? Like, bro, you don't have to know all. You know what I love? My geometry teacher was so amazing. Rest in peace, because he died in a skydiving accident, which he loved to do. but he had us do origami. So we learned like the math and like to make a perfect shape with like all the degree angles. But then also I don't know if everyone learns this, like we also did origami, and like without doing any numbers, you could still create these perfect angles by doing the shapes, and then we measured it with a protractor, and it was indeed mathematically perfect. And so I think this sacred geometry, you know, like masculine, feminine, like, yeah, you could do the, like, basically, if you think of sacred geometry, the flower of life, the platonic solids, like all these shapes, that's like the feminine. And then the masculine was like, hey, these are perfect numbers, they match. And so they both are finding the solution. It's like homework. They want you to say, what's the 90-degree angle? But you could just draw it, and it's the same answer. But like the numbers are going to be missing. They don't have the nuance of the shape being the symbol, meaning all these stories. Just like written language. Like you can write the language, but it's not the same as someone saying it with all of the intonation, like singing a song and all of, you know? Okay. The people of Crete who built viaducts, paved roads, designed architecturally complex palaces, and had indoor plumbing, a flourishing trade, knowledge about navigation, must have also made extensive use of left brain as well as right brain thinking. Also, if we came from monkeys, why do only humans and dolphins have a bifurcated brain? And humans and dolphins are from the star Sirius. So I've been resistant. It's windy. Okay, I have been resistant to studying Orion, but I think it's time, because I was in the Syrian energy yesterday in Lionsgate, which I left that energy for a while because of reasons, and now, and Ryan kept popping in my mind, and I'm like, it's Orion. And Sirius A is the brightest star in Orion's belt, and he's the hunter, the divine masculine. He's, you know, and then the Pleiades. So it's all a story connecting the constellations.